Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 76 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings in Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by my buddies slash co-hosts, Noah, Thomas, and Justin. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first-timer just testing the waters, we are all Siblings in Cardboard. Gentlemen, I have a question for you this week. A little throwback to when we first started doing the podcast.
Okay.
If you were going away for the weekend and you had to choose one of the heroes of Wraith to house sit for you, who would be the absolute worst hero
The worst.
that you could choose?
Oh,
The worst hero that you could choose to house sit for you through a weekend. Take care of your cat, make sure your plants stay watered, leaves the food in the fridge alone, etc.
this is like where we throw Boots under the bus, right? Like this is a Reinhardt. This is like a Reinhardt under the bus
I think
type
KO is
situation.
worse, right? Unless
KO's
actually,
one of them.
I could see KO maybe being good with animals.
All right, well, while you're thinking about it, this is actually the subject of the article that I wrote this week. What I think the top 5 heroes are that would be the worst to house sit for you. And I'll tell you the order once you guys decide.
I think Vincett's up there.
Okay.
She might do a ritual on the puppy,
Yeah.
and I don't want that.
Acilio can't even fit in your house.
That's a good point. Yeah, having an ancient construct is a problem. Max just wants to break stuff, so like that's probably not the best idea.
He seemed like an
Yeah,
okay
I'd probably
guy
just steal
in the
everything
lore.
and sell it.
Wow, that's how we feel about Max. Okay,
Little anarchy never hurt anybody, right?
I would say my top 3 worst are going to be Acilio, KO, and Riptide.
Okay.
I'm Acilio. No, I want Acilio to ruin my house. That's fine. Vincett. I'm still on the Vincett thing. I'm there. Oh God. KO. I'll go with KO as well. That's a good one. And then probably Prism, just because I don't trust her.
Illusionist bias is real.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do. I want to be a little different here, but definitely Reinhardt. I want Arachne. I just don't know which Arachne it would be, or if Arachne would even actually be here. You know what I mean? Like, they could be anywhere.
They would be there.
Well, that
But
they'd
you
be
wouldn't see
there and anywhere
ghosted
and
by it,
everywhere at the same time. So I was like, I don't know about Arachne. And then I feel like Levia. I'm gonna go double brutes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I actually went double brute on my list as well. Should I go ahead and tell you what my list was
No,
now,
read the
or save it
article.
for the end of the episode?
Read the article.
No, don't read it out word for word.
Yeah,
I think he's trolling.
well, it's not been published yet. But no. I'm dead serious.
No.
Okay.
I mean, you can give us your breakdown, maybe your at least your top 5.
Okay. Well, I only did a top 5.
Okay.
How about this? The 5th spot I gave to Dash.
Like dash
Okay.
IE or dash IO
Mhm.
or just
Dash
dash
IE.
in general.
Dash in general, but specifically I listed Dash Inventor Extraordinaire. It was 50-50 on which one to put into the slot, Dio or Dash IE, but by the time you come back, your entire house is no longer going to be functioning as it was when you left.
Wouldn't that be like an upside though? Because like at least it'd be futuristic.
Not really.
Depends on what
Like,
your
and-
aesthetic is.
I like my house.
Yeah,
That's the
not
issue.
to
is I like it.
spoil my article,
Yeah.
but the order that I picked, and I give detailed reasons for which ones, and I honestly think this is one of the funniest articles I've written for Card Gamer so far, is Dash, Arachne, Marionette, then KO, then Levia, and then the absolute worst hero that you can ask to house sit for you, Betsy.
She's just throwing a house party.
She'd
That's
party.
fine.
Yeah, she'd throw a house party.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she's
would
at
throw a
a
house
house
party.
party.
Get
I've been
really
erected.
drunk
Do you
and
think that'd be the
and
end of
then
it?
and then fight everybody
I'm just
in your
saying.
house.
Yeah, then the cops. I don't know. Okay. I
yeah.
don't want Betsy house sitting for me. That's for sure. That's like
That's for
classic.
absolute sure.
Yeah, that's just classic movie setup. But
All right. So how was everybody's weeks in Flesh and Blood? Now that we've got that out of the way, now that I've got that out of my system.
Well, I'll go really fast because I was in Tennessee, so I was out of town. I was hanging out with a buddy. Fun drive, fun time. I got back like early AM Sunday. I like drove with the flood and all the rain and stuff. They were sounding the tornado alarms, and I said, "That's my cue, baby. Time to go." And so,
I can't wait to get on the road.
It was good. It was good. Great drive. Oh man, we gotta talk later about the audiobook, Thomas. I'm almost done with it. I'm sad the trip wasn't slightly longer, so I could have finished the book. But
Dungeon Crawler Carl is amazing.
Oh, Chief, it's good. But that's it. Just selling cards. Still got things to open. I got some Rosetta in. So
I said last week I was going to put down Florian, but I'm still missing cards for Acilio, so I didn't put down Florian. And then I 3-0'd again, so I'm hopefully putting Florian down this week.
Florian's good.
Because like he's one of the like I think I'm locked into like an elemental runeblade or I'll be playing a runeblade or a wizard at Nats, so I just want to. I feel comfortable with where Florian's at. I'll be very comfortable with where Aurora's at after Nats, so I just want to explore the other options for a little bit.
Assuming Aurora sticks around after Nets.
Dude, her first week, she'll make it. She might get a card ban, but that's
First
it.
Week.
So, I played Mario and Paper for the first time. Only played a few games before that. It's a different kind of variant of Mario. It's pretty fun. I got my last card today. Thank you, Noah.
you're welcome.
Nice.
So, yeah, I realized I actually have participated in the buy low because I looked at the price of my Mario deck, and it was $1,800 and rising. And I'm like, oh man, it makes me a little nervous walking around with that in a deck box sometimes. But the deck is so much fun. I'm glad I already had most of the cards.
All right, so on that note, I was actually thinking about that earlier today when I was putting together a deck that I'm going to let somebody borrow tomorrow. I put together a Slippy list for them, and it's got all of my generic staples and all of my assassin cards, and it's right on up there too. But I don't feel nervous about just handing my deck box to somebody. I mean, I probably should, right? I mean, that would be the normal human thing to do, is to be nervous, but I would never do that in any other game. But in Flesh and Blood, it's just like, here you go.
Yeah, everyone's
Just
so
go back to the
tight.
end of the night.
You wouldn't. First of all,
I
you'd
feel
hope
like
that you wouldn't want to do that to a community member, like someone that you're going to see on a weekly basis. Like, what kind of bridge are you burning if you just decide to take their cards and run off with it? And even then, even if it is like a person who is like maybe moving out of town in a week, the chances of you running into some guy who's willing to do something as mean as take a deck from somebody, I feel like it's few and far between in this community.
Right.
Okay. So we missed a natural segue when you were talking about your articles to go ahead and talk about something else that I keep tasing you about at the end of the podcast.
Oh, yes. At some point, we're going to get to the Market Minute. And if you happen to be interested in any of the cards that we are discussing during the Market Minute, feel free to check out the affiliate links in the description down below. There's going to be several different things. It's going to be for specifically the one I'm talking about right now is TCG Player, but there's also a couple of accessory links. I think we're still doing those, like binders and sleeves and a couple of deck boxes and things on eBay and Amazon. Just some actual good products and some things that I've picked up, but I intend to do videos specifically on some of these things later. But for now, the one you need to worry about is the one for TCG Player. And if you do decide to follow our link, you're going to help us out a little bit. It'll give us a little bit of a kickback. So, like I said, at the first time we started doing the affiliate stuff, the Siblings in Cardboard have sold out. So, yeah.
And
if you're interested in anything, click our link.
And by he means at some point, he means now, because now it's time for the Market Minute.
Hey! Transitions.
What am I buying?
Oh, well, you can buy whatever you want, technically.
Nothing.
Don't buy anything right now.
Everything's
next
on the
week.
market. This isn't financial advice, or is it? I don't know. I just feel like you got to start saying that now because like everybody says
No.
that, but it's really not.
I hate it.
It's I promise you it's not, but you can take it however you'd like it. We're gonna do just some generic staples. We got a lot to talk about today, so I don't want to go too long. And a lot's gonna get shaken up once keynote speech, spoilers, things like that. So not much has changed from last week in terms of the cards that are rising. You kind of just look at the heroes and you'll be like, oh, that went up because of X, Y, or Z. Met cards are on the rise. They just are. Twin Drives Heist, just look at those. Master Cog, just look at them. They're going up. The Gold Helmet, Crown of Dominion, the Royal Helmet, it's going up just to kind of give you like a few things. But I wanted to look at generic staples because we're going into a tournament. Maybe you're going, maybe this is out at the time. Maybe this goes out afterwards and you're like, uh-oh, all these generic staples are getting used. I better jump on this table or this bandwagon, however you want to put it. And so that's kind of what I was just going to pick and choose. Not necessarily what you should buy, but let's just take a look at some common staples really fast that are being played. What's their prices? What do we think about them going forward, whether they rise, fall? Note these are generics, so you should probably have a play set of these just to mix and match. Let's get Sensor out of the way. I think Sensor... currently sitting at $21, has been here for quite a bit. It still has a 1 month high. It's not the highest that it's been, although it's trending around where it is. So 23, 24 is its peak. It's sitting at 21. I think it's a great card. It attacks the meta. If you know what you're going to censor, if you know they have it in their hand, it's pretty good. 1 cost, 5, blocks 3.
You know
You
what's a
gotta
great
have a play set.
combo? Cut from the same cloth, look at their entire hand, give your next dagger +4, swing Hunter's Clave for 5, go again, and then play Sensor with the remaining resource.
Seems
The
pretty
longer
good.
meta goes, the better Sensor gets.
Yes.
Does that mean you have Sensor in your Marionette deck?
I think I'm going to put 1.
I think Sensor's a
good
1 or
fun-off.
2 of. I don't think it's a 3 of. I think 3's
Well,
too many.
One of the things you could do is
Maybe.
if you don't have the Sensor in your hand, you could just Codex for it.
Yeah,
Pitch
Codex
blue,
is
swing
good.
dagger.
So you got 4.
Yeah, cut from the same cloth, pitch blue, swing dagger, play Codex, Sensor, and then they're incentivized to give up the rest of their hand because you're going to name the best card in their hand.
That's fun. I like that.
Next card is Erase Face. This card has actually gained quite a bit of attention. It's got a 3 month high of about 50% increase. 1 month it's kind of dipped about 4%. Its peak was about $21, and this is up from it being a sub $10 card, as it kind of just lost a little popularity. So it does ebb and flow. Erase Face is the one that loses class and talent types until the end of turn if it hits. And this one costs 2. It is a 6 power, blocks for 2, but it's currently sitting at about $16, $17. It usually teeters around there. I wouldn't necessarily say that this makes a jump back up to 20 unless it sees a lot of play. But there's a few decks that out there that don't want to get Erase Faced, and I definitely think that it still hits the meta in a way that you want to have a play set up. Again, all these are generics, so these are usually staples you want to at least have around to mix and match, play a wide variety of decks. Next is Weakest Link. Weakest Link is has been on the radar for a long time. And in fact, it's actually crazy because I see it at $45, and I was actually going to tell you guys this is exciting. This is amazing news. $45 is a really good price. Oh, hold on, there's bad news coming, which is crazy because I just actually scrolled down below the $45 listing. But anyway, Weakest Link Room, if you guys remember, had about a high of $70, $80. Great card. Just to give you an idea, when it hits, you look at their hand, you choose a card without base armor. So if the card doesn't block, this hits it. If you do, they discard it, and you draw a card. Which is actually crazy. Like, they lose the card, and you draw a card.
You get an arsenal, essentially, is the hope.
Yeah, it's
I think that
wild.
card's better than CNC right now.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty good. They might agree with you. People might agree with you. This has a 3 month high of $62 all the way up to 62. I want to say it was higher though. Yeah, there it is. About $70 back in November. And then it took a huge slump down to 45. Well, there's only 2 on TCG Player at $45, and it jumps back up to $75. So I don't know if everybody said, "Oh man, weakest link, it's time," but it did go down a bit. There were some ones that you could have gotten below that $50-$60 threshold. I mean, I see it all the way back in March 21st. There they are selling for $49, but not anymore. Apparently, everybody said this card's too good.
It is good into Aurora. It's better than Command and Conquer into Aurora because Aurora usually plays Crown of Providence. And the games don't usually go long enough to play 2 Command and Conquers. So the Crown of Providence kind of nixes the usefulness of Command and Conquer to her. And Aurora is very good at coming off Arsenal and aggro matchups anyway, where Weakest Link is always threatening her hand pretty much. She's got so many instants.
And you get to look at it.
And full information is pretty good. Same reason cut from the same cloth is incredible.
You ever throw a weakest link at an assassin and they just look at it and then they look at it some more and then they keep looking at it and they're like, this doesn't have text right now, but it does because now they know that I don't have a Justin Nick in this hand.
That's okay. No blocks. Like, Chelicera for 1 go again. Try to figure out how to block right.
Well, I got to see your hand, so I get to know how to block right.
I mean, maybe I could pump the Hunter's Claim instead.
Right, but like I know what your cards are, so it's like like I know what's coming. There may not be a good answer, but at least I know what the answer is.
The answer is, oops, I lose.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
This is a weird one. This is out of Misfill too, so it's out of a set right now that is gonna phase out a little bit as the Misfill heroes as some of the Misfill heroes kind of leave the legal play in terms of classic constructed. But it's just weird that MST has like this crazy power card that is up there price wise with CNC. Speaking of which, CNC is next on the list. I just kind of wanted to touch base on it. CNC is obviously a staple. Most decks run it. I'm gonna just give you the quick prices on all variants. White borders at 87. It's trending down. Not necessarily a crazy amount. 87 is pretty much where it's been at. 85 for regular Arcane Rising. So 85, 87 seems to be the going rate, somewhere between that and 90. And then the only one that's not in this realm is the one from the most recent set, which it could be supply, it could be demand, it could just be because they like the crossing swords, but it's 99. So the newest CNC holding really good value. In fact, actually continuously going up. It's actually up 3% from a month high, and I don't think it's been any higher with sales since it literally first debuted, and it sold for a little over $100, and now it's pretty much back to its all-time high. So CNC is still very expensive. Still looking at about $270 or $240 to get a playset of the most universal card in Flesh and Blood.
That's arguable.
I mean,
there's another card we're going to talk about.
Is the most universal card in Flesh and
Well,
Blood.
that's the $3 common.
Sink below.
I was going to say if I had to choose a card that epitomizes Flesh and Blood, be
Sink
Snatch.
below is a common. That's how crazy it is. Sink below is actually Sink below is common, right?
Sink below is rare.
It's a rare.
No
It's rare.
way.
Brother, if that was a common in draft, that would have been bonkers.
Is it a $3 rare? Still pretty crazy, but
it is
not as crazy as a $3
but,
common.
No.
Speaking of which, we're gonna look at Sink below, whatever the opposite of like Sink below at home, but like this is like the better Sink below. It's Shelter.
Sink below
however you want
mansion.
this this is this is the bougie Sink below.
Okay, there you go.
No sink though, just all ping reduction. $94, so it still sitting where it was. I mean,
90.
granted, it feels like a 94 to be exact. Nope, never mind. I lied because it's $5 shipping. It's $100. Let's just call it what it is. It's still a $100 card, guys. That's non-foil. Foils are $111. So The EA is 350. We're off the 420.69 train. I guess that person hasn't been wanting to buy them up.
Dang.
But it really was funny to see it at 420.69 the entire time, those EAs. But Shelter is still going crazy. Not a lot of sales, so that makes me feel like people are all going to band together and kind of just wait until it drops. Remember, once you get 3, it's kind of, you don't need any more. Can't really do anything with 6.
Not have to swap between decks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
don't give anybody.
It's like
ideas
having like
about
9
that.
copies of Command
I
Conquer.
hate-
9
man.
copies of Easter.
I want you to think about your dollar per hour rate of having to like swap over your 3 shelters from deck to deck. I think it's just okay to swap it over just deck to deck. It's fine.
I don't
For that-
think about
for that
my
card.
dollar per hour rate for the cardboard in general.
Yeah, but that
Hours of my
but shelter
life.
puts you in that tax bracket, so don't do that.
Right.
Just own your 3.
Okay.
Enlightened Strikes 45 both ways.
card.
Just to kind of speed it up. Generic, really good card. Everybody wants it. Everybody plays it. Fixes bad hands. Warmongers is down to 70 if you want lightly played, 75 for moderately played. I don't know about that. Lots of lightly played. Most cheapest near mint, what, $80? So a little lower
That
than the
card is
99
going
it
to
was
be
at.
good. The
but-
card is going to be good in the next set.
That card's gonna
Buy
be
the
good.
dip. Buy the dip at $80. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I would really buy the dip. Let's be real, guys. Dust Till Dawn is like a weird set. You're really gonna buy Dust Till Dawn to try and pull? No, you're not. Not Warmongers.
It's
Like, the
better
only
than
other
buying
value-
MST to try to pull Weakest Link, to be honest. All the other
To
MST
be-
cards
to
are
be
worthless.
True.
Not Bonds and Persuasive aren't. Like, the Assassin cards in there are pretty good. If you get anything from the Zen side, you feel really bad. If you get Meridian Footsteps, you feel absolutely terrible. But if, like, most of the legendaries out of MST, you actually feel awful about.
Yeah, all of them, actually. The Stonewall, funny
What are
enough,
the-
Stonewall Gauntlets is the only thing with any
Yes,
value at all.
actually, Stonewall is higher than
It's
all
banger.
the other class Majestics. Yeah.
What's the other majestic generic out of MST? Were there any? Was that the only one? There were Mystics.
I was gonna say, I think Weakest Link was your generic kind of your Warmonger, your
chase card.
Censor, although Dust Till Dawn has Censor and Warmongers. Not to mention Dietic Carapace is 84 for Rainbow Foil and 135. That Dust Till Dawn's still hot, actually, guys. Get on that
Yeah.
Dust. You can find some Dust Till Dawn.
Rowdy
actually sick.
Locals.
And
And Prismatic Leyline.
That's a good one.
Yeah, okay, no, we're good.
Ooh. But both of those are actually sleeper cards. So don't sleep on your Rowdy Locals. Seriously, good generic. And then Prismatic Leyline will be busted at some point in this game. I promise you.
You could probably
That's not
sleep on
financial
Rowdy
advice,
Local.
but I'm serious. You could probably take Prismatic Leyline 40 copies to the bank a year from now. That all you got. If you guys slept on it the 2 times I mentioned it, it's a $30 card now. Ship sale, told you. Should have sold on that one. I'm telling you, that all you got will do this. It was down at $10 to $15 in its slump. And now it's back up to 30. You got these generic defense reactions, they do crazy things. That all you got is in a great spot right now. Tons of 2-attack weapons, tons of opportunity to get in there, block a dagger, block whatever. It replaces itself if it does what it needs to do. It's a feel good if you get to do that.
It's a good
you
into
don't always get
Aurora.
to do that. But-
And it's okay into Enigma. You're stuck running D reacts. At least Tag replaces itself when they attack with the shield.
Hold the line. It's $18 and rising. You should pick them up.
I need to buy that
Every hero's gonna draw. It's a
Maybe.
waste of time not to at least have 3 of them. If it's used, 25, 30. If it's not, at least you got them. Ripple Away, $15. Oh, I think it's always fair to have a play set of those, especially at 15. And then just to throw some, are you serious numbers? Quick dodge flexors is $100 for Rainbow Foil. I think that's actually crazy because it's higher than it's ever been. Although that card is really good, 150, 160 for Cold Foil. Codex of Frailty, $113, and Climbing, who would have thought, probably could hit 125, 130.
It will.
Maybe even more if Ranger is actually like top. 150 is my my like ceiling, and that's
We're going to see the
insane.
Majestics
What's
for
funny-
her, and everyone's going to buy the card.
Is they reverberate off each other, right? If Ranger gets better and Codex and Frailty goes up, Assassin's good into Ranger, so Codex and Frailty
so
goes
its
up.
frailty goes up even more. The Marvels are at $500, by the way. Last I checked, just so everybody's
Oh,
um.
Got to be a Codex replay.
Those are cool Marvels, but I also hate them. Like, I was looking at them on stream when a Slippy was playing them. I'm like, I have no idea which Codex that is.
yeah, they're great for like looking pretty in my binder. Not great for playing.
Would definitely not shuffle and play those the same way I would not shuffle and play my Commander. It's not going to do it.
Hmm.
That's it. Still, I'm still about brute gaming, guys. I'm still about guardian gaming. Try and figure out and get them where you can. And the inevitable re-rise of Katsu. Thomas got to see my 800 retrace the pasts, so I'm ready. I'm ready to trace the past with everybody.
If they there's been some chatter online about them unbanning bonds.
I'm ready. I'm ahead of the game.
After Zen. I've seen some whispers. People are hoping. So
I see no issues. Ship it.
yeah, seriously. Nobody else is going to use bonds.
After
Give it
what
back to them as a red.
After what Justin he's like, I was like, okay. I didn't even think about it twice. I said sold to the highest bidder.
Like, Katsu actually did kind of rely on Art of War to get there. He'll be playable with bonds.
Yeah, he'll be playable, but
He'll be playable, but he won't be.
I'm sure, as a former Katsu main, I feel confident saying we'll take it.
Yes. Indeed.
It's
I might actually play
harm, right?
Katsu again if bonds is unbanned, because I do
I
miss playing
I
that
want to
deck.
try him. I want to try him out with some shenanigans with Prismatic Leyline and a bunch of 100 wins.
I don't know about cards that don't say
Ship it.
combo on them and don't pitch blue. We'll see.
100 wins says combo on it.
No, Prismatic Leyline doesn't.
That's okay. That's just the one. It's the one you gotta have.
I don't know.
You play a blue 100 wins for like 8? Oh my god, that's criminal. That's criminal.
Is there a world where you go like Kadachi 100 wins, dual threat, surging strike?
Yes. I like that better.
Yeah, but
Surging
blue 100 wins for 8.
Surging Strike for 8 is way cooler.
Then a blue
Yeah.
when you pull out
Yeah.
the blue 100 wins or a yellow 100 wins for like 7, people are going to be like, wait a minute, what's happening? And then you're going to be like, well, what do you think my last card is? It better not be a blue 100 wins. Oh, it is. And then boom,
Right.
blue 100 wins.
All right,
Okay.
here's the cope line. No, I'm not entertaining it. Never mind. Just kidding.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
let's move on.
Yeah, we got a tier list.
We've got
Yeah.
yep. It's the week before Pro Tour. I'm actually like leaving town like tomorrow, so I'm going to edit this tonight as soon as you guys send me your files, and we're going to get this out quick so people
Let's go.
can disagree with us at maximum speed.
And if you
Good.
disagree with us in the comments.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think
Yeah.
instead.
Tell us.
Please
All
do
right.
disagree
We'll
with
debate you.
us.
So the
Yes.
tier list is up, and I've already put one guy into the tier list position he deserves to
Perfect.
be in.
Mhm.
So the big news of this past week is we were all hoping. I don't know. We weren't all hoping, but we thought it was,
I was
pretty
hoping.
cool that Zen could have possibly LL'd right before Pro Tour. He did not. He didn't have any real showing in Battle Hard in Jakarta, and then in both the PQ pluses that happened over the weekend, I don't even think he was registered.
No.
So no Zen LL. So you can go back in the list, Mr. Zen. You'll get a position pretty high up there, I believe.
And then
Mhm.
briefly, let's just obviously it's top tier, but like, you know, we can kind of
Explain the tiers.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
briefly, super
So-
quickly.
Yeah.
So our bangers are what we consider probably the best deck in the format. That's going to be our bangers and mash. I think people will be able to guess those pretty quickly before we even put them there. Crumpets are your solid decks that good people are going to bring. Good decks that good people are going to bring. Our fish and chips are mediocre and bad decks that good players will still bring. And the jellied eels. Ugh. Man,
Yeah,
you
we're not a fan
I've-
of jelly deals.
you don't
around
need to
here.
look it up. I saw images I didn't want to see. You will
I'm
see
curious.
these because people are masochists and they don't always act in their own self-interests.
Fair.
Er-
Fair.
and those are our 4 tiers. It's a pretty popular tier list strategy. The meta, good decks, good players will bring. Good decks, bad decks, good players will bring, and just bad decks.
And I don't think we're doing like ordering within the tier. It's just like, hey, you're there. We
Yeah.
might do it for bangers, but
More
that'd
or
be about
less. Yeah, we'll maybe.
Yeah, probably
I don't
the
even know if
bangers.
it's possible to even order the bangers. Like that's implying that we know what the best deck in the format is. I don't think there's a definite best deck in the format. Maybe we could narrow it down to 2.
They
For
kind
this
of
format.
triangulate off of each other,
Okay.
this one.
but
So-
he's got a called shot.
So do we want to work kind of what we think is the top and work our way down, or go in alphabetical order?
Nah, let's start at the top and work our way down because the top influences everything else.
Sure. So I think we could already talk about like the 2 boogeymen of the format, right? We're currently consuming Enigma and Aurora. I've thought Enigma has remained basically the best deck in the format ever since she was released. She's had problems with aggro, occasionally with OP Zen showing up, and then Viserai kind of getting his heyday with Rosetta coming out, and now Aurora being enough to keep her a little bit in check. But I think if these very wide, pingy aggro decks didn't exist, Enigma would be almost unbeatable.
If those wide pingy decks didn't exist, Enigma wouldn't have been printed.
She'd already been LL.
Stupidly powerful. Yeah.
So
I think she's the best deck.
yeah. We talked
Full
about
stop.
this a little bit last week, right? That
Mhm.
she just all her hands convert almost. Like she very rarely draws a hand that doesn't go, whoa, this blocks for a lot and somehow furthers my game state.
Yeah, I think she's just the best deck. Like, your hands convert very, very well offensively, so you're good in the mirror right now, which is obvious enough. Aurora, like, you can build a deck to be better math than Aurora, which feels criminal to say, but between the D-reacts and, like, you stuff most of the snatches and you let CLV only draw 1 card as opposed to 2, like, you're on rate, if not better, across the board. You'd have better tunic plays, your hat's stupid. And like if you ever get to keep a cat around, or like you just spec manied and you get to swing that 1 shield for free for like 6 over and over again, that's really good.
She has like so
So-
few foils in the format too, right? Like
Yeah.
these are the 5 decks that you can kind of say foil her. And even then, like I could think of ways. You just discussed why Aurora can struggle. Dash IO
Yep.
can just straight up fatigue herself occasionally, even though that's much
Yep.
rarer now that Enigma's not teching for her. Zen, while really good, he could brick, and a single brick is enough to just immediately lose the game. Same thing with Vincent. You just brick 1 time and eat a mirror guide to the face and can't clear it. And then Riptide, like he's got the best access to spamming Murkmire Grapnel than any of the heroes. And so these 5 heroes have these. Oh, and the traps make the Enigma have to play super honest. It's really funny.
You should probably throw Slippy up on that little pile as well, because apparently Slippy has a really good game into Enigma.
I think that was because the Enigma pilot that we saw on camera play against Slippy was playing his first 3 games against Slippy on Enigma, and he was learning a lot in real time.
Fair. Did you listen to their podcast after that event?
Yeah,
He went on to talk about it, and he felt like it was pretty rough.
it's not like, I don't think it's ideal, and obviously Slippy can do a lot of jukes and jibes and all that kind of stuff, and that's really good for the Slippy player. But I do think that is one that because that deck suddenly got on everybody's radar this week, that Enigma pilots are able to prepare for it. But anyways, my thought process is that it's like, you want to bring a deck to a tournament that just has a really flat matchup spread. Everybody's targeting Aurora by putting all these D-reacts in their deck, and guess what that means? You do not have the cleanest aggro 60 into Enigma. Like, I'm seeing people actually register for their deck list for the Pro Tour, sink below into Enigma matchups. And like, that's not where you want to be.
No.
Do you think though, like Zen being available, does that not scare? I mean, with Zen having the width and not necessarily having to give up too much to Aurora because of the Zen state if it's well timed. I mean, doesn't Zen want to see Enigma and Aurora technically?
Zen
I mean,
can brick.
So
Zen,
we'll get to Zen.
Zen likes to play
We'll get to
these.
Zen.
Yeah, we'll get to Zen.
We'll get
Yeah.
to Zen. But
There-
I do think Enigma is our best deck in the format. I don't think she will be the most represented, though. I think that's Aurora.
She's hard to play. She's one of those things
Yeah.
where you got to evaluate. You never evaluate just your hand. You evaluate you evaluate your whole deck every turn.
Yep. But let's talk about Aurora.
All right, Aurora. I also think she's in the bangers and mash. I think she's actually the real boogeyman you need to be prepared for going into Pro Tour. Best aggro deck in the format in general. Like,
Easily most played.
she's faster
Most play-
in a lot of times, but like she can just fatigue herself or draw these really bricky hands that don't do anything. Aurora can too, but
But if Aurora bricks, she can always fall back on Flicker Arc.
yep. And she also, she
Like-
literally can't be fatigued. Like, it's so hard to fatigue
Yeah.
Aurora.
Like, if an Aurora even thinks that you're trying to fatigue her, she just stacks Flicker, Arc, and then all of the blues, and she doesn't even need to have the rest of her deck because she's just going to get minimum 8 pings off of that alone. It's craziness.
Yeah.
So,
Flicker, Arc, play the blue that draws the card and makes embodiment light.
yeah,
right?
written, current funnel, written, current funnel, written, current funnel, and then if you have anything left in your deck, play those. It's pretty
That-
good.
It is very good. And that ability to be like your aggro and your anti-fatigue with the exact same 60 just leaves you where you're open to like only use your sideboard for tech.
Yep. And she is not directly targetable by any one card. Weakest Link is sometimes annoying. Erase Face is sometimes annoying. We've talked about this a bunch. But the 0 for 4 D-Reacts are what you have to play to beat her or to have like game into her. And there you only get to register 9 of those unless you're playing Springboard, Somersault, and Fatigue Dash.
Shelter from the
So-
Storm is very, very good
Help a
against
lot.
her sometimes. Like if
very
she's
flexible.
if she needs to hit
Covers all
that
the
one
angles.
damage ping and use Shelter it and clear it out,
Yep.
like sometimes you could just flatten her.
But I think those are your top 2 decks in terms of both representation and, well, 2 of your top decks, both in terms of representation and power level.
Okay. I think we'll look. Did anyone else go in the bangers? I think
Zen.
Yeah,
I would
mean,
say Zen is up
Yeah.
there. So, yeah, he somehow scraped by with only 4 points away from Living Legend. Zen has like kind of the most solid hands in Flesh and Blood, right? And he has just this amazing weapon that spreads 3 damage across 2 attacks. Like,
Yeah, I just think in a 9-round tournament, you're like if you've ever heard Mansant talk about Levia, there's just like certain decks where it's like when you register it, you already have like 1 loss, 2 loss, 3 losses just because you registered it. I think Zen gives you half a loss, to where it's like you're going to have maybe 1 game of tournament that you just didn't find chi until turn 10, and because of that you lose. But outside of that, like Zen's a house, he's a good deck. There's a reason he's at the top of the leaderboard.
now, do we think this is a Briar situation where Zen continues to stay around and hamper, but
No.
not
Week 1 he's
necessarily be
gone.
able to finish?
If he doesn't win this, he's gone first week of Pro Quests.
yeah, he'll accidentally win a Pro Quest.
Yes. But I think those are your top 3 decks in this format, and everybody else is around. But each of those should be above 10% representation. I'd be shocked if any of them are actually below like 12, 13%.
So
and then obviously we think Aurora has the lion's share of.
Yeah, she can get to like 20%, 22%.
I have my phrase that I've been calling for this meta the Big Five. So the other 2 that are part of the Big Five is
Yeah,
Florian and
I
New,
was just
right?
thinking about those 2.
I think they're just under that bangers and mash. You can even argue putting them in there if you like look at like the Talishar data, the tournament data. These are the 5 decks that like are consistently converting and hitting top 8. So there could be an argument to putting them in the bangers, which is actually kind of cool thinking that there are 5 decks to put there. It's also kind of disappointing that it's only from the most recent 2 sets before the Hunted.
I was just thinking about that too.
Yeah. I get it. I
That's
get it.
insane.
I got an opinion later about some other heroes, but
Okay, Florian.
let's Thomas, you spent a lot of time with him as well. What do you think?
I think this deck is one of those decks that benefits that you do not know which 80 you're sitting across when you sit it down against a Florian. It is incredibly hard to know what his deck construction is going to be. And even within the deck construction, it's so hard to even know how he's going to sideboard into you. And if you like, Just think about the mirror, the Florian mirror. If you sit down across from one of them and they decide to play Scepter of Pain and channel Millennium Tree into you, and you don't run AB3, and they do, like, you lose.
Yeah,
You lost on the spot. There's like, it's like a 0% game almost.
Yeah.
And he's just such a great value deck. The Earth cards are incredible. I think we looked into them when Rosetta was coming out. We liked them, right? We realized Felling the Crown was crazy. We realized like Plow Under was pretty good, and Arcane Seeds was going to be strong. Like, and when it first came out, there was just a little bit of hesitation because how hard it is to get that hero power online, and the fact that you don't have a hero power, quote unquote, when you first start the game. But it turns out the hero power all along was just being Earth.
Yeah, I think adding Channel the Millennium Tree and realizing that's a main board card at all times, because it's part of a win con, it lets you cheese wins in late games where, like, if anybody gets to 3 health, they're just dead, because why would you ever bring AB3 versus Florian?
Mm-hmm.
So someone just goes Channel Millennium Tree, pitch, create a rune chant, win the game. I think Florian just beats up on all the other, like, the bad decks. I think he's like a gatekeeper guardian style deck, where he's 50-50 into Aurora's End. I think he's a slight dog actually into both of them, but not like a bad dog. It's just 49-48, somewhere in there. But like, pick random deck, Azalea, right? Like, Florian is pretty solid in that matchup to really good. He has like Face and Bark Skin that obviously just do work. Plow Under that's actually like its best matchup as like an example. Prism, you're randomly really good into, like the Brutes, you just do better math then. So like, you just have a lot of decks that you just kind of bully because you do numbers better than everybody. And you're, as Thomas mentioned, I think that the builds have been pretty solidified at this point, but there is some variability to it. I think there are a lot of iterations that people haven't shown yet, and I think we're going to see some interesting Florian lists.
He's absolutely a crumpet.
Yep.
He's the top of the crumpets since he's not quite a banger.
I mean, he's quite a formidable deck too in second cycle. I mean, obviously, I guess it depends which type of Florian you're playing, but I mean, once Florian goes online, I mean, the numbers just start to get crazy. Yeah. I mean,
if you've
make Rune Chant Swing Sword is literally if the other cards in your hand, if the other cards block 3, I mean, you're 14 value. I mean, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, and it's like, if you ever decide to go long with Florian because you're a psychopath and you think that's a good plan, he, I think, has the best second cycle, just like being able to go runner. Because if he puts a Channel Mount Heroic or Channel Millennium Tree at the bottom of his deck, he gets to keep those things around for forever and just get so much value out of them. So it's like, you have to kill him first cycle for most decks. And he is hard to kill for a cycle.
The only second cycle deck that I think would even come close is getting hit by Jarl over and over again with Oak and Old. The Oak and Old second cycle train is...
That is a bad matchup. Full stop. I think Jarl is a bad matchup for Florian.
Okay. New. I think it's impossible for her to not be in the top of the meta. Her kit is just too strong. She's very adaptable. We see the list just change so much every meta.
Incredibly popular.
Yep.
Just because she's a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. I think News need to register Cosmic Awakening. That's my only real opinion on New right now.
That's spicy.
I mean, I can see it.
I don't see a problem with one of. It's a blue. Pitches.
Yeah, I think you need like 1 to 2, especially because Zen's still around, and like how Zen wins that matchup is by saying, "Look, I'm the fatigue deck now," and just like damage decking New. So I think you need like a Cosmic in there. So like late game, you pitch stack to Bonds, and then you throw the Cosmic, and hopefully just take all the game from there. But that's my only real opinion on New. Like, she's just around. I think this is the worst New has ever been, but she is still very strong. She's just a gatekeeper.
Which is crazy because she's still so good. Yeah, I think this is the same thing like you said with Florian. I think she preys on certain decks that the matchups are not exactly the most fun to play. And then by preying on those matchups, you actually make the top end a little better, because there might be some dark horse decks that would play into Enigma or Aurora and that you don't necessarily want to see. But then there's like, they're running into News, like they're running into things they don't want to see.
You bring a Verdance or a Fang trying to pick on like Zens and Auroras and Florians, and you run into New, and you just get tilted off the face of the planet.
All right, let's talk about the other assassins. We got our pair of Arachnes. That they actually play very different considering how similar their card pool is.
There's another Arachne.
There's 3 Arachnes.
That one. Okay, we'll put him here.
We can put him in the Jilly Deals already. We love Huntsman. He can be the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like we can go ahead and throw some things into the jellied eels just to save some time.
Yeah, I mean,
Was it Viscera LL?
yeah, this is
Yeah,
probably
It's
just
an old one.
yeah.
So it's probably
Slightly
just an old one.
old.
It's fine.
I like the round hero images, so I chose this one. Okay,
Hmm.
so I think both of these are pretty well positioned to fight against
Or
some of the
bold.
current meta. They're very disruptive. They each have their strengths and weaknesses, right? So funny enough, he can struggle into New because he gives her really threatening blues go again, and sometimes they just have 0 threat, but now they have go again built in. He's a really good head jab deck, so decks that want to keep their full hand, he really, really punishes. Mario's got the best combat tricks in the game.
Mhm.
Even better than New by a lot. Like New's got that like
I think
option to
he's-
fatigue.
I think he has the most punishing combat tricks because like New can still just completely juke you on a bonds by just going mask, and that's really painful.
Siren's
Where
Call
like
is a thing.
yeah, and Siren's Call is so stupid. I hate that card. But Arachne can just like make a random blue Reaper's Call kill you for like 17 damage.
Cool.
So that's good.
Answer me this. Have you ever thrown a Kiss of Death, then Tarantula Toxined it, then activated Black Widow, discarded a card, hit the player with it, do a bunch of damage to them, make them banish a card from their hand, give it go
Mhm.
again, then swing a
Yeah.
dagger, then flick the Kiss of Death, and then they have to banish another card from their hand because the Black Widow is
Yeah.
still active on the Kiss of Death. That is
Yeah,
the
no, it's
Yes, I
most
have.
brutal thing that you
Yeah.
could do to someone. It is absolutely
Yeah.
absurd, and he's really the only deck that can do those kinds of things. Like, and he
Yeah,
can do it
his
out
ceiling-
of nowhere.
his ceiling on reactions is the absolute highest out of all the assassins, but his floor is insanely low because like
Yeah.
you try to throw that same line on it, and if they have a shelter and like another red D react just to cover up the initial Kiss of Death play,
hmm
like if they're able to cover it, like that sucks for you. Or like you want to toxin something, but instead they just happen to have Seeds of Tomorrow on that turn, so there's no like way for you to pump it or anything like that, and then you toxin, and then they play the D react after you toxin. Like there are ways that just Arachne can get Giga blown out, but if he doesn't, his ceiling is crazy.
So,
So he's a crumpet.
yes, I think he's a crumpet. I think he's kind of bordering. He hasn't proven himself, right? We saw a decent performance in.
He's won a PQ plus recently.
Yeah, we saw a PQ plus. Maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think he is unhappy to see all of the crumpets, and he is pissed off to see Zen, and Aurora is a 50-50.
Yeah, I mean,
Does
I
not
mean,
wanna
dude,
see- yeah,
He
you're
act,
right.
you would think that he's an assassin, he'd be able to be like tricky into Enigma, but when I was like playtesting Slippy, I hated fighting Enigmas. You just have too many head jabs. Enigma's just all flexible 3 blocks, and you never get a flick. Flick's just useless. Like if you ever try to do an important flick with Slippy, they just break gloves and block it with a shield. So okay. I grabbed a couple others that I think have been doing stuff. Let's do our other Rosetta hero. Sorry,
The other one we
Acilio.
don't.
Sorry,
we don't get to talk about
Acilio.
Acilio, my
Sorry,
boy.
Acilio. Verdance has been putting up results. I think she's like, if you really, really wanted to play Wizard, I think this is the Wizard you should be playing if you want to have a good chance of winning a longer tournament.
I disagree.
I mean, you just roll the hot nuts.
No,
Like,
not him. Kano.
you could go with Kano. Where's he at on here? Kano. There you go. Both of these heroes. Oh, he's at the end of the list. That's why he's bouncing around.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate.
Anyway, so Kano and Acilio, I think you're kind of just having to roll hot multiple games in a row. Like you could play them smart and give yourself a better chance to roll hot with both heroes. I think Kano does it better than Acilio because Acilio runs so many non-blocks, but I think Verdant's like if you're traveling really long ways and playing like 8 games of, is it 8, 5 and 3,
9.
Probably most likely.
9, 5 and 4,
Yeah, 5
9
and 4.
games of classic constructed. I think you're playing Verdance if you want to play a wizard.
My issue is she is absolute dog water into the best deck in the format.
She can outwin against Enigma.
And how is she into Aurora?
Depends on build. There are a couple builds that think they're 50-50 into Aurora. My kind of thought process on Aurora is everybody has a plan for her until they get hit by Aurora.
Right.
But I think she's very good. I think she is, if you hit the gem lottery and you find your matchups, you just did it. Like, you're going to top 8 very easily because some of her matchups are insanely polarized. And then you just have to win a couple 50-50s. But she's good. Like, I do genuinely think she's good, but I don't think she is as good as like your top 5 decks. She's outside of that.
So then are we putting her in like the top of fish and chips tier? She's not quite a bad deck that good players will play, but maybe she is. Maybe Wizard is just there right
I mean, it doesn't
Okay,
have to
I think
necessarily
you're-
be bad. It could be mid. Like, you know, like it has like a
now. Well,
mid.
you're
deck.
at a pro tour.
If you
If
talk-
you're not good, you're
you-
bad. Like, but I'm not
True.
saying like it's just a terrible hero. It's awful. You shouldn't play it. When we talk about bad decks, good players will play. But when you're going to an event of that high of a level, like, unless you're coming up with some really cool like rogue deck and you have
Yeah.
this like idea that you're attacking the meta in this way, that's what the bad decks that good players will play. The good players are playing them because they think they've hit that secret sauce. That's what I'm saying.
People will play Verdance because they love Verdance, and I think she is the top of fish and chips. The more that we have talked about it, because you ever talk to a Verdance player and you ask them how they won a game, they're just like, oh, I did some stuff and then maybe I killed them with Storm Striders. Like, good question.
It's
Or like I
kinda
threw a felling
Icelander
at
with
some
no
point.
ice. That's what I feel like.
Majin Bey said it best. Verdance is a terrible deck until you win.
Yes.
And then he won a battle hardened with Verdance by being a terrible deck until he won literally every round except for round 1 because he came in late.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, I do think Verdance is a good deck. Like, I absolutely fine. But I don't see any of those decks at the top tier besides Florian that I'm excited to see as a matchup. I'm just like, this is the reason I'm playing Verdance.
Yeah.
So, but she is sick. She is the most consistent wizard, and that's being off axis at a big event like this is always a good idea.
I think top fish and chips is probably right.
All right. Dash IO. I feel like that she immediately gets to go into crumpets as a Dash IO, someone who's played a lot of Dash IO. I don't look at a single hero in this meta and think, God, I don't want to sit across from them. I literally none of them. Like, she can just zoom past anybody. She does have that consistency thing sometimes where her deck just says you don't draw the cards in the right order at all. And the person who said my game plan into you is to only block, and it worked.
I think if you register Dio, you're starting the tournament with 2 losses.
You think it's that bad?
I think you're going to have the 1 because you have the 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to run into a Jarl, a Florian, a Zen who's prepared to fatigue, maybe. I don't know. Like a Verdance. Just like one of the blocky decks. And it's not because your deck sucks. And it's literally just because you just ran into someone who decided to fatigue and still plays Warmongers because they're a psychopath.
Oh God, Warmongers does hurt, and it's not a very good Warmongers meta. But ooh,
No,
man,
but, like,
the well-timed Warmongers just like shuts
these-
that Dio down.
These decks, like if you look at a lot of the top decks, like Enigma plays a bunch of Titanium Baubles, Zen plays some Titanium Baubles, Florian, new, they play Titanium Baubles. And why not make your Titanium Bauble a $100 Titanium Bauble? That hoses like 4 decks.
To be fair, Aurora with a correctly timed Warmongers gets hurt pretty bad.
Yeah. You know they have the Arc Lightning and you just Warmongers them. They're relying on that as their go-against source. It's very
Mhm.
good.
If they needed that as their starting lightning card, because a lot of times they do, and you shut it down, they lose the turn. So I think some of the stuff that like Dash IO is weak to, or Aurora is is weak too. I think Aurora's primary like advantage is that she can play some of the interesting generics where, sitting across from a Dash IO, you could probably guess like what her exact ADR minus one, plus or minus 1 or 2 cards.
Yep. She's playing a bunch of 0 or 4 power boost cards with 6 to 9 boom grenades or 6 to 8 boom grenades.
I think she probably just goes either in the top of fish and chips or the bottom of crumpets. She is the fastest aggro deck in the format. Like her ability to just output like 27 EV starting turn 1 is just wild, and no one else can do that.
So she's a good deck that good players will play.
You have to be an incredibly good player to play her. Just like you're playing, it's like Enigma. You're playing your entire deck every turn. Like,
I think she's efficient. I think she, like, her inverdants are like the quintessential fish and chips to me.
Okay.
Like, yeah, but I'm not. I don't know.
I'm gonna watch a lot of these decks get absolutely sauced by Null Time Zone, and I'm gonna be laughing because I'm gonna be like, Justin was wrong.
Hey, I'm happy to be wrong. I have no problems being wrong.
No time zones ahead.
Like, she's still
this
she's
deck
still
hates Null
fine.
Time Zone. This deck tries to not even run the chi cards into her.
Yeah, that deck tries to avoid Null Time Zone.
This deck just lose. Zen just says, "Oh, you need Null Time
hates
Zone?
it,
I
yeah.
can probably just scoop, I guess. Bye."
Yep.
Okay, Vincent. I think also kind of the epitome of bad decks good players will play. She is so good when she's good, and then every once in a while, your deck just says no. And I even thought she had I feel fine into Aurora. Zen is rough because of Kasaya. I feel fine in the Florian. I feel fine in the new Mario. Awful into Verdance. And I used to feel good into Enigma. And then she started playing that Essence of Body card. And we all said, and if you guys don't know what it does, it says when this aura pops, the next red source that hits you this turn doesn't deal any damage. So you throw a red card out of your banish, they let the rune chant pop it on purpose, and then your card that you just spent time doing a Beseech the Demigod into to pump it up to 9 does goose egg. Big 0 damage. None. And we found out that this, like, they add 2 to 3 of these into their deck, and it's good against some other heroes as well, and makes Vincent almost unwinnable.
If you would have asked me 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have put Vincent at like the bottom of crumpets, and now she is like very, very firmly in fish and chips.
Yep, and it's 1 card. It's so brutal.
I don't even think just that. Like, Zen's not fun for her. Florian is miserable for her. New is a weird one for her. I don't know how the Mario matchup is off the top of my head, but
the mat you just tempo. You match their tempo. If they want to go very aggressive into you, stack. If they want to try to keep their whole hand, you throw into them.
Yeah, you play like 9 to 12 defensive cards as Vincent, so you should be fine in a Mario. Haunting Rendition's a banger. So anyways, yeah.
All right. Prism. I think this is one of those decks that sneaks up and is never terrible, but sometimes is terrible. I can never figure it out. And then suddenly she just like wins a tournament out of nowhere. Like she just did.
There's a noticeable lack of poppers in your top however many decks.
Okay.
Yeah.
7 power poppers to be exact.
Okay, yeah, there are like no 7s, but Aurora runs like 3. Enigma runs quite a few, blades. Right? She can.
CNC weakest link are probably the 2 that you'll see out of Enigma.
Mm-hmm. Zen runs 3, maybe 5. Like, I don't think maybe he has room for 6. Florian is full.
Yeah. Yeah, Florian's the bad matchup. Like, if you run into the Florian, you're not happy.
No, you're not happy at all. And his deck has even gotten even better versus Prism as he's tried to like tech up for like Aurora. Because like your collateral damage to Runic Reclamation, which is a 7, that's just also good into Aurora.
D-reacts are good into her. Summer's Fall's great into her.
So
There's
good.
a bunch of like
it pops or it gets rid of an aura. Like, it's so good.
Yeah. You get to attack face, or like they spent their whole entire thing. They do like get Soraya out, play the Genesis, and you're like, all right, cool. Attack Soraya with my Summer's Fall, decompose, spin the Genesis, get that thing out of here.
You could even do that with Summer's Fall Blue if you're running it as part of
Yep.
your blue base. It's very good.
Yep.
So we're thinking Crumpet.
No,
I think she's.
I think she's like fish and chips. And
If you would have asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said Crumpet, but it's dropping off.
the meta has started to shift a little bit, even with the low lack of poppers. But she always just finds her way. There's like one of them that finds their way all through the decks that have poppers, and just basically gets matched up into the all auroras and flattens them.
Something to shout out is Zap Clappers. Zap Clappers is so hard for Prism to deal with.
Yeah,
Because you swing the Angel, and I mean it's the Aurora matchup. You're pretty light on resources at that point. And if they ever Zap Clapper your Angel swing, you just got absolutely hosed. Because she can't really pay for AB.
Is her Enigma matchup bad?
Yes,
it's really bad. Even though she
bad.
did win in a finals versus Enigma just recently, it's been recorded as being sometimes a 0-40 matchup.
Yeah, like I think it's Enigma favored. Zen's a weird one for you. We're not happy to see Florian. You're happy to see the two assassins.
All right.
It's weird. A lot of her cards have been spiking up. So, I mean, like, there's definitely a popularity hype there, but I don't know.
She is loved. That people will play her.
She's
I do not think she's a good call for this tournament.
She's got great cool factor, but 32 health, no armor, a fragile game plan, just a lot of things working against her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She may be the hero that most rewards maximum reps. So people that are bringing Prism to Pro Tour, they're going to be the best Prism players in the world. So I think she gets some points for that too.
Oh, any deck that's in fish and chips, I think, can win this event.
Yep.
Yeah, let's be clear.
Let's clarify
Just
that.
because it's a what we consider not meta or maybe like not the best deck or even like record wise, but I don't think anybody would have picked. I'm not gonna say 5,
Missouri?
but like Missouri more so. Like there's decks that come out of left field. They're not bad.
Yeah.
They're not on the radar. So somebody could have been cooking in the lab with Prism for so long and been like, "Nah, this is it," and just brings it and with a little gem luck, is able to get into a top 8 and go, "Oh, this is exactly what I wanted."
Yeah. Like if you see the right bracket as Dio, you just win.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you see the right bracket as Verdance, if you just run into the Zen and Florian bracket as Verdance, 1, congratulations, you're a gamer. But 2, like, you just feel so good about life.
Same thing with Vincent. If you just run into the matchups that you're teched for, because Vincent has a lot of cards that she could tech in her extra, you feel really good. But then you run into the Enigma that has Essence of Body and she just kills you with like 30 health left sometimes. It's brutal.
Let's throw up some more jelly deals.
Okay.
Syndra.
Giant jelly deal. I mean, we could almost grab all the Guardians except Victor, right?
And then, I think
Jarl's a fish and chip.
Jarl's probably have a fish and chips.
Jarl's a fish and chips.
I think Jarl's probably more of a fish and chip than Victor is, to be quite fair.
Yeah, let's talk about those two.
Okay. He's an Earth hero.
So right now,
Earth heroes can't be below fish and chips, right?
Yep. You get access to CLF and Felling with the Crown.
Sorry.
Go Donnie. Go Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie, you first go.
Just for the audio-only listeners, so far, the jellied eels that we've thrown up that we are certain are just not a good choice for this tournament are Arachne Huntsman, Bolton, Betsy, Bravo.
Sorry, Arachne. There's better warriors, there's better guardians, although Betsy's probably around the corner. Betsy probably better than Bravo. Olympia just has too many facets. He's more of a fatigue deck, the way that they're trying to play him, and I have no idea what's going on with Olympia because people are using the golden anvil or the anvil in such crazy ways. So
he's half a hero.
He is like half a hero. Unfortunately, I think Olympia is going to be unfun to play against down the road once it gets solved, but not right now.
Firstly, just so we don't get flamed by avid Bravo lovers, Betsy is not better than Bravo. Like you might be thinking
No,
about
Bravo-
equipment or her mechanics, but Bravo
There's a
has
reason to
some of
bring
the most
Bravo to a tournament.
insane specializations.
There's a reason to bring Bravo. It's not a good reason, but there's a reason to bring Bravo.
Also,
I'm putting
Betsy's the worst she's ever
BEs.
been. There's too many D reacts in the meta, and Overpower has almost no text on it.
Yeah. But anyways,
Don't worry about it, Betsy.
let's talk
We're
about the two real Guardians.
Okay, Jarl. I think Jarl is never a bad choice. If you look at the meta, the decks he hates seeing, it's probably Enigma and New, right? Florian
Yeah.
is just a fun matchup. Actually love that matchup both directions. But
I think it is. I used to love that matchup, and then playing as both sides of it, if the Jarl knows what they're doing, it is giga cursed. In my opinion, like that's the one that's keeping me up at night playing Florian. But I don't know. When I play Jarl, I don't want to see any of the MST heroes at all. Period. And I am okay seeing anybody else.
yeah, I don't think.
So
I think he's a quote unquote
Yeah.
bad deck good players will play. This is like a deck that
Yeah.
you think you maybe have figured out the meta, or you're hoping for a certain gem pairing
Yeah.
to go through. And you
yeah,
get
like if you hit the gem lottery and you run into like only Assassins, Aurora, Florian, like you're over the moon.
or just throw Oakenhold
you-
like 4 times.
Yeah, like you just dodge Enigma and then everything else you're like okay into. But if you win the gem lottery, like I could see a Jarl winning this whole thing.
Mhm.
No questions asked.
And are we thinking more so on the lines of like an ice heavier list, or more into that, like
If I had
which
the
one
answer
do you
to
think
that.
it kind of favors?
Not sure. Whatever makes you throw Oakenhold
Yeah.
the most. I mean, Oakenhold is that card is just
Yeah.
wild.
If I knew the answer to that, I would not be playing Rune Blades right now. I'd be playing Jarl.
Okay.
Like, I think there will probably be some CYB stuff going on, but I do think you need an ice package as well. Like, he's just got a lot of string or a lot of directions he's got to go in. I don't know, but he's good. Yeah, he's fine.
So
Victor's an interesting one. Talk about Victor.
I think 9 Thunk Victor is really cool, but it does just kind of... Okay, so the concept of Victor is to prey on your opponent's eagerness to throw cards at you. And you actually get more value out of them throwing cards at you than they get throwing the cards. So you do things like clash with Test of Strength and what's the other one? The one that blocks 3 and reveals 2 cards?
Trounce.
Trounce, that's right.
Trounce.
And you reveal thunks, you reveal cards, you draw the cards back. First time you make a gold on each player's turn, you draw the card back, right? And you just accrue this huge amount of value. And you play these disruptive guardian cards, sometimes with like 20 mites behind it, right? I think the funniest thing I've ever seen is like a Miller's Grindstone for over 20 damage. And he can't really be fatigued because of the Miller's Grindstone and the plan with
You can do stuff. It's okay.
Visit the Gold Main Estate, right? You play Visit the Gold Main Estate, visit the Gold Main Estate, pass turn, and your opponent has to go, I have to win this turn or I'm dying. Like they're literally throwing over 20 damage at me with one attack.
I think he's your best guardian into Enigma. His deck list is really tight. And what I mean by that is like you are just so required to run so many blues. Like certain like big blue attacks and big red attacks and things like that you're not really having a lot of like sideboard tech. So that opens up a lot of sideboard slots, which is really good for you. And as we have said, this is the worst that New has ever been, which is like the best thing Florian can ask for.
Another one that running the gem
Sorry, not
lottery could be
Florian.
really strong.
Victor. Yeah, Victor. This is like, yeah, if you win the gem lottery and you see like Aurora, Zen, and maybe Mario and like Rogue, I think Victor's solid. He's like the bottom of fish and chips, but like,
But we're
embarrassing.
we're still feeling the Enigma pain though as Victor, right? Like Enigma still is like the
He's okay. He's probably better than Jarl because his
by a
like
long shot.
you know what his sideboard tech is? His sideboard tech is aggressive go again cards like
Yeah.
Scar
He gets
for
to play
Scar,
Outmuscle.
Zealous Belting,
Yeah.
Outmuscle,
Yeah.
E-Strike.
He gets to run like a real hammer and real Gogan package.
Rouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Rouse is in 10,000%.
So
Yeah.
what are like why isn't Victor like super good? New, if you're playing the best version of Victor, your deck is super weak to new because you're playing those really spicy blues.
Right.
You're also still like at best of 40% into Enigma, but 40% is not 0.
I think you have almost a 0% win rate into Vincent if she knows how to play the matchup properly because none of your block cards have text on them.
Zen is the same bucket.
How's if they know how to play the matchup?
Yeah, if the Zen knows how to play the matchup, they should win it every time.
So, but I think he's still a quote unquote bad deck good players will play because we're gonna have our Guardian players. I think we'll have some Jarls and Victors show up.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if we see like 20-ish Jarls, maybe 10-ish Jarls, and then we see like 2 Victors, maybe 3. But it's not embarrassing. It is the worst fish and chip, but it is still a fish and chip.
Okay, so this is my controversial thing I'm going to say here is that we're saying Victor's the worst fish and chips, and I would actually almost put Azalea in the jellied eels. This is probably the worst she's ever been by far.
Yeah. She's got the wow factor in a sense, right? Because like you think on paper you just load a big arrow and shoot it, but
giant arrow and shoot it.
1D reacts are really prevalent right now, and I know they get tall, but outside of some real threatening dominant attacks, right? Most of these decks, like if I'm Aurora, all right, and I'm ready to go off, and I go 16 blood rot, arrow, right? And I'm like, oh, that's pretty big. But it's like, it's not red in the ledger. You go, it's cool. I'll take it all. Because you're about to probably hit me for 35. And Azalea can't block.
Yep.
It loses the aggro and probably doesn't have, I mean, like, Murkmire Grapnel's a hell of a card, but like, it has to be the right time for Murkmire Grapnel.
Her plan into Enigma is please draw Murkmire Grapnel or Codex or Murkmire Grapnel on the turn I need it or I lose.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if it's on the turn you want it, yay! If it's not, it's like, ugh.
Look at those top 6 decks. They are all consistency machines. Like their floors are so high on the turn-by-turn basis.
Except for maybe Aurora, but Azalea can't block. So the first time Aurora gets like a CLV or 2 CLVs out, she just absolutely roasts Azalea.
Right. But what's a bad Aurora hand? Like a bad Aurora hand is still throwing 8, and blocking with a couple cards. Like it's functional at least.
Oh, yeah,
like
you get around red in the ledger too, because like if you're like hand doesn't block, it's probably like 2 electrostatic discharges. So you just throw a giant snatch and re-arsenal.
Or you block, somersault, discharge, do the thing. Yeah. You got options. Anyways.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I think Azalea on paper should do well, but I just don't see Azalea being a good pick. I still think they'll be specialists. I still think that Azalea will find some success. I just don't think Azalea has a real chance of top 8ing and or converting a win. I mean, it would have to be some insane I just have it every time off the top 16 red in the ledger shenanigans just looped. And even then I think you're only hosing the aggro decks and you're still going to lose to some of these tall decks.
We've even watched like the good players where the Azalea rolls super hot and the Azalea like will barely squeak out a win or end up losing it the second that they drop the disruption.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And it sucks because I really like Azalea. It just doesn't feel like it's her time.
All right. Syndra.
Jelly deal.
Yep. As soon as people learned how to block her, I think she became a head jab deck. And the downside of her head jab deck is it doesn't even have disruption like Slippy does.
I think she's the worst Draconic Ninja. Like, I think Vi's better.
Wow. That's...
Because Fi, I can at least look at it and it's like, why are you playing Fi? It's like, well, because I get to 13 a turn every turn.
Yeah.
And then I get like a power spike turn with my mask. What's your reason for playing Syndra? You want to...
She's fun.
She's fun, and you want to play Mask of Momentum into the D-React Shelter of the Storm format?
Oh god, Shelter. Yeah, Shelter's so rough. Like even Calming Breeze, like if they play Calming Breeze because they don't have enough for Shelter or they want to play 2 sets of Shelters, then Also the Earth Boots. We've got 2 heroes that run well grounded. 1 turn per game, you just do nothing.
Yep.
Okay. Another eel, dash IE. No reason to play her, right?
Mm,
None.
Fatigue dash.
The-
Free frog dash is still a thing.
Fatigue Dash is okay into Aurora. The issue is, once again, Flicker Arc exists. Tree Frog Dash is not okay into your other two bangers. Tree Frog Dash is solid into Florian because you just don't take damage the whole game. It is, I don't know the new matchup anymore, and I assume it's okay into Mario. It
I mean,
sucks,
if
but in Jelly
anybody's
Deals,
going to
no one's
come
playing
out
it.
with some crazy tech, it's going to be some dash. I don't
The
know.
crazy
You're
tech,
playing a long
it's
con
gonna be
value
that they
game.
got 3 more D reacts to put into their deck. There's no other crazy tech.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think by the time the gun package comes out, you lose to a wide deck, and then I think even if you get it out, I think you lose.
The issue with Dash for me right now in my eyes is that you know what's happening. There's no reason you're playing Boost Dash. So you sit down across from it and it's like, all right, I'm prepping for Fatigue Dash immediately.
and then even if you're wrong, it's like, what are they going to do? Like race you?
They can't pick and choose their max fees like Dio can.
Exactly.
So
I get, and I feel like we could confidently put the other two mechanologists, Max and
yeah, they're Jelly Deals.
Boston, in the
Oh,
Jelly
yeah.
Deals. Like
Like
Are they
Max
the two
doesn't
worst
even have
heroes
a
in the game?
support yet.
Are they the two worst heroes in the game?
Max is. Tekla Boston had some polarizing matchups. I don't think Max beats anybody. Poor guy. Maybe his new deck
RIP.
gives him some really good value. Like the cards we've seen are pretty cool, but
Mech support trust.
Yeah, Max is waiting on his armory deck
and high seas. Yep.
Yep.
Dory.
We're gonna be cranking.
I actually think Doria is quite good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put her crumpets, but she's definitely near the top efficient ships. Like I don't think she's got her problems, but so a lot of the lists, and you can look at the list too that was brought to Sao Paulo. I mean, if you notice something else, yeah, it was CYB, but there was no glistening and there was no 20. So it was glistening lists and it was 20 lists, which is kind of crazy when you think about it on paper, but I mean, most of the cards that you're going to commit to that Dory, you want to do something like in terms of pumping. 20 is really cheeky, but if you're not going for 3 swings, you're going for consistent, like I just want to build up counters and apply pressure, then both glistening and 20 don't necessarily do anything. Like you're paying 1 for glistening and hoping for some inadequate blocks, but like that's a card you committed to the just a 1 cost go again, unless it does its magic. Other than that, it's just a 1 cost go again. So why wouldn't you just play Unsheathed and give it go again, or play a word? Why wouldn't you play anything else to give it a pump and get that in? I still don't know if playing glistening lists is right. You also have the surprise factor. I mean, I guess you could sit across from a Hatchets or a Dorinthia Axe, but like you probably know that.
I think
depending
that's
upon
one of
what
her
you're playing.
strengths, though. Like the fact
Right.
that you don't
I mean,
know
like
what
you
you're
have to
gonna
know
sit against.
what 60 you're playing against. Is it a more mid-range? Is it more aggressive? Are there glistenings? Are there 20s? How many of what attack reaction does she have? Is it a 1 yellow overpower? Is it 1 Iron Song response red? Like, the cards, but do you know the ratios? And so as you play longer into the matchup, you'll figure it out. But I feel like she gets people on that, as well as Dorinthia can just design turns that it doesn't matter what you do. You can spend the whole time figuring out how should I block, and you'll still block wrong. So
Okay.
Okay, so is there any reason to bring a non-Dawnblade Dory list?
no, I mean, I think if you're gonna play dual wield, you just play Kasai, because Kasai I think has a better late game package
I
in
I think
Blood
he's a better
Iron Hands.
dual-wield warrior.
I
just
think Kasai goes straight into Jelly Deals. I think she's just strictly worse than Dory.
No, I'm not.
I-
I mean, I just
agree.
think that
In
Fang
every
and
way.
Kasai would be the better dual. Like Dory,
Fang is.
Fang is the best warrior.
Dory wants to get 3 swings and value, and this isn't a value. She's not going to win out with that, and she's going to lose to the wide decks because Hatchet's Dory cannot block efficiently the wide decks. You'll leak, you'll lose.
You also Flicker Arc is a nightmare for like
Right, because you're
that type of
splitting
deck.
you're splitting your blocks. Like your blues are going, like your blues you need to 3 swing are now going into defense, and then you're trying to block and create a hand with a blue Blade Runner. That means you need to at least had 2 blues in your hand to block the arcane, plus at least get your turn going. It feels bad. Next thing you know, your threat density is gone. You got a bunch of blues at the end of the game. You're not doing anything with.
Okay. Let's jump back into our Draconic heroes. I think Phi is fine. I would even say maybe like bottom of fish and chips. He's just a value deck.
Yeah.
And I've seen his
He does
math.
things.
It's good.
I mean, he desperately misses Art of War, but yeah, he's fine.
He could be really surprising too, because like you think he's just going to be a bunch of head jabs and maybe some 1-for-5s, and then he surprises you because he actually runs some decent disruptive cards and runs enough blues to throw them at you, because if he doesn't draw a 2-for-6, he could always just swing Emberblade instead.
Ignite's a banger in this deck.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like a
Ignite's
sneaky
really
banger.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, Ignite's a sneaky banger. I like him.
He doesn't
I
get
don't
much
know.
use out of Ancestral Harmony, right? Because he's just not very combo driven.
He's not a combo deck. He is a
Right.
draconic deck, and he actually does the fealty generators actually do kind of help the deck some. Like he's really cool.
Yeah, he's fine.
I think Fang is probably the best draconic hero right now, though.
I think
Yeah.
he's a top 7 deck.
I want to put him in the crumpets tier. Like I
Yes.
think there's someone's going to find the sauce for this deck
Yeah.
and just flatten some people.
Like, you'll notice I've been really stingy about which decks. Like, you could argue that Dio, Verdance, and that's
Yeah.
about it.
People
Really
are
could
going
go
to think we're
Crumpets, but I think-
psyoping with this choice, but
No, like, Fang is real because, okay, what's your game plan as Fang? Play fealties, get online, right? Once you're online, you're an IP, you're an Intellect 5 hero, you win the game. Okay, so I need to spend more time to get online. What helps me get online? D-reacts. Okay, because that lets me stall longer to get to my pieces. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to jam 12 D-reacts like everybody else is, right? And that's what beats Aurora, which is good for you, right? You have Jagged Edge tech. You're the best warrior against Enigma. And you are impossible to block. You are the best late game deck in the whole entire game. Full stop.
you have like one card.
Because-
You have like what, 1-card 7s? Like if you're
Yeah, Hun Sen is a
online,
1-card 7.
Hun Sen is a
Well,
1-card
8.
7. Yeah.
It's an 8 because of boots.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
it's pretty nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nuts.
1-card 8
So,
is
like-
really good.
Yeah, like obviously that's insane. You're impossible to block because in the late game, you could just throw 3 on the table. You go react, pump it up to 4, playing any of your draconic reacts, and then you just keep throwing that one dagger for 1 over and over and over again. And there's no good way to block it. It's impossible to block well.
Yeah,
You just got to get to that game state.
best at blocking 4 block attacks too, because of dynamos, you get the
Mhm.
value out. I mean, it just there's so many upsides for that. The amount of value you're going to get on the boots is just crazy throughout the entire game. And like Justin's saying, you're playing a longer game, like where you're going second cycle, setting up the fealties, you're going to get even more value out of that. And he'll surprise you. He might just surprise you because you awkwardly block a dagger attack, and next thing you know, it's like, oh my god, I'm taking how much? It's like, because those daggers can go high. He's got some crazy attack reactions.
Ira. I'm not sure where to put
Ira's
her.
Ira has to be I don't think Ira has. I don't know. I want to put her in crumpets, to be quite fair, because I just think that she's completely versatile.
She is very versatile,
Do it.
but like you know what she's doing.
Hair.
It's Kadachi
Do
for
you
1,
though?
Kadachi for 2, and then she's throwing a 1-for-6 or a 1-for-5. And she's throwing Kadachi for 1, 2 costs 6 for 7 value.
Say something nice about Ira.
I don't think I have.
She did pick up Cut Through. I think that's the name of the card.
Yes.
0 for 4. Go
0
again.
for 4, go again. Mm-hmm.
That card really helped. She can't handle Flicker Arc.
Nope.
She can't handle Felling of the Crown. You are good into New. You're bad into Fang, because Fang just is you but better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Enigma matchup's fine.
I would
She
say
can
the
be
Enigma
efficient,
matchup's probably bad.
It
You're
might be okay.
like Enigma just says, okay, you hit my like shields. I
They
get
don't
one. I get
always
one.
have the spectral shield.
Well, no, you get the cats out. Like as soon as Enigma finds cats, the Ira loses, and she has 3 of those.
That might be like a combo package game for Enigma where they're just like trying to assemble. So like we didn't talk about how the Enigma deck's built right now. It's built in 3 ways. You have the just like value blocky, do the stuff things, right? The go again package for the mirror. And then you have like the combo packages to where you're doing like big spectral shield plus cats, the mirror guy that we all know about, and the like 10k plan.
Mm-hmm.
And you just increase the density of those so that you see as many of those as you can over the course of like 8 or 9 turns, and you just overwhelm people with that. And your fair mid-rangey decks just usually die to that plan.
So I think she's just somewhere in the middle of fish and chips, I think.
She's not embarrassing, but she's not
Right.
People are gonna play her.
I don't know.
Okay.
She's versatile. She's very like, if someone says they're playing Ira, I'm not like, oh, this deck is trash, but it's not unfair is the issue.
Right. Riptide, I may not let him house sit for me, but he's still the gem of my heart in some ways. I thought this deck was good when Viserai was in the meta. And Viserai is LL'd and nothing has really changed. I think he's even better. I think a talented Riptide player preys on a lot of these decks. He's got sneaky tricks into Enigma. He's the best at throwing unpreventable damage out of probably all the heroes. Because he just Azalea like tells you that she's doing it, right? She usually only shoots 1 arrow, sometimes 2. Riptide's throwing all these weird attacks and breakpoints and stuff. If you spend your turn trying to protect the president and then he comes in with a Murkmire for 7 at the end that you just can't block, you just get hosed. He's good into Aurora because everything Aurora does triggers his traps. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Good into Zen, same reason. Everything Zen does triggers the traps. Rough into Florian because if you get to the game state where Florian's just keeping 1 blue in hand and throwing a sword plus 2 ring chance at you, you lose. I think this is a skill matchup into Nu. The Nu's trying to figure out where your Buzzsaw Trap is. You're literally hiding your Buzzsaw Trap over and over again into your deck until you get the most value out of it. Because as soon as you put it into the deck, the Nu banishes it and uses it against you. Favored into Mario. Completely bumbles Fang. It's so funny. The first time he messes up, he just loses all his cards to Collapsing Trap. He throws too much into a dagger and gets Buzzsaw trapped. He's just got Frailty on him over and over and over again, so daggers are coming in for 0. So I think he's really good. He was high on my list for going to Pro Tour if I win.
Okay. I hear all that and I believe all that, and you're very convincing, but why isn't he winning anything? Why is he not top 8ing anything?
I think it's partly underrepresentation. He was so bad when he first came out, right? Just so terrible. And even though a lot of stuff didn't change, I think people figured out that he's this like aggro list, and the real text on your hero card is the one that puts cards into your arsenal, not really the one that does the pings on your traps, even though those help. And over time, the meta has shifted also towards being very D-react heavy. And the more D-reacts in the meta, the better and better Dreadbore gets. You think of all these decks that are running like 8-ish D-reacts. Dreadbore just, some of these decks can't even take all their D-reacts out. And you only need 3 in your deck for Dreadbore to really see great value.
Fish and chip.
Fish and chips? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to put him higher, but everyone's against me. In the fish and chipsies goes. Boom.
you can
Dude,
have
he's
him
a
in
deck where
Crumpets.
if you have a dude, if you told me Riptide wins this thing, I'm not going to be surprised. But if you told me that Riptide wins this thing, I'm also going to be like, oh, that wasn't my like first one on my bingo card. I would need to see like what he paired into.
I'm hoping we get to see a Riptide on stream just like absolutely rip like an Aurora or an Enigma apart. Enigma has to play so fair into Riptide. It's so funny.
I think he's an interesting deck. He has some strengths, but I don't think he actually does anything too unfair if they understand what Riptide does. The issue is nobody understands what Riptide does, because why would you understand what Riptide does?
No, wait, that's how he wins.
Exactly.
They
But
go,
like the
they go
second,
no blocks reactions, and then they try to put out a sink blow, or even better, they try to put out a shelter for a storm, and you just push Dreadbore at them. And they go, oh, I guess I'll discard this.
so my thing is, right, local Chris has a good description on like when to stop playing heroes like this is when they stop needing to read your hero text. Right? Like he was playing Bolton at a tournament and he made day 2. And then the first game of day 2, he's like, I'm playing Bolton. And he asked his opponent, do you need to read the card? And they just looked at him like he was weird. And he's like, nah, I'm good. And he got steamrolled because the guy knew how Bolton worked. So I think these people are at the Pro Tour. They should know how Riptide works. But some people are stupid and they will not know how Riptide works. So that's fine.
I think we will see if we get a chance. We will see
yeah.
people fail to read Dread 4. It always happens, even at the
Yes.
highest levels. And then like
I think
it's in your head, right? Attack for 7,
Yeah.
block 3, D-React for 4.
I don't know. We'll see it. I think he is a fine pick, but I'm not. I think he's just a fine pick.
We got 3 more, I think, that are in the like possible things that you would consider taking to the tournament, and then 4 after that, and 1 LL that I think you could just throw right into Jelly. But
Yeah,
KO.
I was gonna say, might as well just throw them in there right now. Like
Okay.
Levi, Reinhardt, and
is
Uzuri.
maybe the worst deck. Is maybe Tech Lavos and
I mean,
Arachne's
how-
worse, but I think they have a better card pool than Katsu does.
Yeah, he's on limited cards.
Huntsman's got a great card pool. It's a toss-up between Betsy and Katsu, whichever one is the worst deck.
Levia's bad when Rune Blades are good. Just
Hell yeah, brother.
I love Levias so much, but Reinar, unless you're Eugene, this deck is
Yeah,
terrible.
don't bring it.
Yeah, just don't bring it.
And Azuri is not terrible, but she is the worst assassin. So like she's
just better
all the way up
choices.
here. Why would you play
Azuri's
her?
good when D-Reacts are not good. D-Reacts are good right now.
Yep. She's the only hero that throws Command and Conquer, and you actually get to D-React against it.
Yep.
Asilia.
There was an
Oh, wait.
Azuri top
KO.
8 recently, so
Okay. Yeah, we are talking about KO.
Yeah, because it's weird. It's like saying Azuri isn't necessarily bad, but like I think even in the quote unquote bad decks good players they'll bring a better assassin than Azuri.
yeah.
Yeah. This is the Pro Tour.
All right, KO. No, sorry. Yes, KO, not Kano.
KO. Yeah, we're not back in
KO.
heavy meta. This is KO.
His chess piece is still busted. Blood Rush Bellow is still crazy with him. He's one of the highest value machines if he gets to play aggressively.
Flesh Bag is fantastic.
Yeah, he's got an absolute fridge. I think he's always just kind of sitting there, hanging out, and being very scary. Maybe he's a jellied eel. Maybe all brutes are.
No, I don't want to put him lower than Fish and Chips because you can always Unga Bunga Blood Rush and just crush people. I mean, there's he can put out damage numbers to rival any other deck in the game, long as things roll correctly for him.
Yeah, I agree.
mean, he's Kale's ceiling is really, really high. I just don't think the floor is always there, which keeps KO honest, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's some turns that KO like gets all the tempo in the world and then just doesn't have the ability to swing more than one attack unless you're rolling scabbies and you're not afraid. But most people don't play. Most people aren't sitting there going, "Oh, it's okay. This is a scab's hand," and like will the 6. You know what I mean? Like most people are trying to play around.
It's the Pro Tour.
Yeah, like they don't
No.
want their game to end. But like
You
in
don't-
my
you don't,
opinion,
like-
I think it's the opposite. You just go all in.
You
so
don't look at your
you just-
hand that blocks like for 6 and swings 8 and think, I've got to hold these and roll scabs. You just block 6 and swing 8. Like, it's
Well, yeah,
when
if
you
it's
got
that
full tempo.
self-explanatory.
You hit the scabs button when you got full tempo and you need to keep it. Okay.
good ceiling though. I mean, when things are firing, Chaos great.
Oh yeah, Blood Rush Bellow Break Chest is some of the man, agility token with not bear fangs,
No.
Savage Feast. Ugh. Agility token, break chest, Savage Feast. You do like no card 8, go again kind of stuff. Okay. All right. Talk to me about wizards. You're our only wizard player, Justin. Are any of these playable?
Both are
Insanely.
top tier.
Kano's a banger, but that's very, 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 very controversial. Asilio's a jelly deal, unfortunately, unless your name is exactly Yuto. One, no one has put enough reps into the deck. 2, Zen is just rough for you in general. New is bad for you. Disruption's really bad for you, and this is like a weakest link meta, and when weakest link is really good, you're really bad.
Yep. You have no armor.
Sometimes, like, we are playing more sigils now, so I'm playing all 12. just to have, and like Channel Lightning Valley, just to have more instance that when Weakest Link hits the field, I could just get it out of my hand for value and have it be fine. But at the end of the day, you are still susceptible to a lot of disruption, which is always sucks. But also, you're just not fast enough. You're a combo deck that deals damage sometimes, and that's just not a hit. So it's like compare Aurora versus Cilia, right? As like combo decks that just like are aggro decks that have a combo, right? Aurora's average aggro turn is better than Acilia's average aggro turn. Now, Acilia's combo is better on average, but Aurora can just butt fumble into Flicker Arc and it's still 22 and 25, somewhere in that field. And like, hey, 25 usually kills people. Like, that's fine. So it's like the combo's big enough, and because they did enough persistent damage over the course of the game. People think that Acilio is good into Aurora. I think it is a 50-50, and if the Aurora knows what they're doing and knows what equipment to present, they are extremely favored.
What about Kano?
Okay.
All right, is there enough disrespect for Wizards that you're gonna have like a bunch of Kanos sneak into Pro Tour and just be menaces and then lose in draft? Do we put them in Jellied Eels just because Kanos can't draft?
No, I think that story is overplayed at this point. Oh, Sam's going, and Sam can draft. Sam's really good at drafting. Okay, so the crazy part is you're favored into Enigma, and
Really?
that feels really weird. Yes, you are favored into Enigma right now. The pivot board's really, really strong. You're playing 12 cards basically just for that matchup, and Will of Arcana was a really big deal. Full stop.
Personally, I want to put him in Crumpets because I always feel like an idiot when he there's two of them in top 8 because the disrespect is so real.
The other thing that he is taking advantage of right now is D-Reacts don't do anything to him. Like, people play Shelter in the matchup because they're like, oh, this is going to help Trust, and they always just discard it for no effect. There is a list that just came out that's now popularized. They're calling it the ICBM. It's like a ballistic missile list. I just call it double rainbow. It's a double.
Sorry, I've heard that from other people. Can verify. They do call it ICBM.
Yeah, they call it ICBM. I like double rainbow better, but it's the same idea. You're just blocking, setting up potions, and then nuking people on turn 3 or 4. Sometimes turn 2.
Can I just leave him here and not make a decision?
Put him. Let's see, you're favored into Enigma, you're slightly favored into Aurora, you're super favored into Florian and Zen, you're favored into New, even through AB3 Spellvoid 2. You're a dog into Mario.
You're an absolute dog into Mario.
Yeah, people tell me that you're favored. I still think that's cope.
It's too much disruption, it's too aggressive.
Favored into Riptide, you're favored into Dio.
Are you?
Yeah, because you don't have Spell Void. And that's the only thing that matters right now. Because you're presenting lethal on turn 2, and I'm killing you in response.
Okay.
Because, I don't know, deal with Wildfire. Like,
Dude,
that's your problem, not mine.
You were making me want to put him up here, so we could just say we called it.
Hey, I started this thing out with I think he's a banger. But the issue is you got 2 problems. One, this Kano deck plays very different than any other Kano deck ever. You will IP yourself. Like, we had a testing game where I had Wildfire and Arsenal, I had Will of Arcana and Kindle in my hand. I blocked 6th and passed for 2 straight turns. And then I drew the nuts and killed somebody because my Wildfire came in for 9. And like, it didn't matter at that point.
We saw on stream this past weekend that basic setup was going off, and then he activated Kano and found a Kindle on top and lost.
Yeah, like that can happen.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why, like, I don't want to put him too high. Is like, I think if you register Kano, you do have like a 1-game loss, just the deck. So let's put him in Crumpets, bottom of Crumpets, and say that's fine.
I can live.
I feel like an idiot if I put him any lower and there's 2 of them in top 8. It always happens.
But the big thing being that, like, you can just nuke anybody right now. I hate the deck. It's not fun. It's not a cool deck anymore. It's very lame, but it's so strong. It is really, really strong.
Okay. Well, other than our sweet prince, who left us not too long ago.
I miss him.
He's being consumed. I think that's where we're at. You guys got any adjustments up or down? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
No, I think we worked it out pretty well.
I mean, I think if
I feel good
Zen,
about this.
I think if Zen's not even good, there's gonna be a force of them trying to get that LL credit, right?
Nah, he's still good. I like that more than half the roster is playable. That's
Yep.
cool.
And we even have.
I think
some
this is
arguments.
a fair way to do it. Yeah, I think this is a fair way to do it because you'll see that like second tier, like the A tier, get like super clogged up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is cleaner. Like,
Yeah.
because this is a pretty flat meta. Like, there's a lot that you can do.
All right, so called shots time. Tom.
Who's winning
We
on what?
all want to say Pablo Pintor on Zen, even though he's probably not
No,
playing
yeah.
on Zen,
Dang
right?
it.
No,
That's what I was gonna
you
say,
said
yes.
it on Twitter. I'd already thought it. We all want to see him just kill heroes. It's really fun.
Okay, so the sitcast pick is Pablo Pintor. So now you have to pick
I
somebody
just
else.
need the storyline. I just need the story. I'm going to be rooting for my friend Damien on Riptide. I love Riptide, so I want to see the big green man.
Oh, he's bringing Riptide.
Yep. I think he took a couple decks, but he loves Riptide. He's the one who got me into the deck. So every time we'd like edge towards some other deck, he'd go, "Yeah, let's go back to Riptide."
Oh, he could day 2 with Riptide for sure.
He will day 2.
So what's the over under? What's the over under on Brody Spurlock being in the top 8?
Dude, Brody
Under
has
just on the
been in the
numbers.
lab. What else has he been doing?
Under just
This
based
is
on the numbers.
wait.
but,
Is
like,
this his? Is this his?
He's back on Thursday.
Oh man. Well, do we know what he's gonna bring?
He just brings the
course
best deck.
Nobody's seen him for what, 2 months?
That's all. It's exciting. I want to see what he's been cooking up, and he like comes in and just rips a tear. So are we cheering for? I actually kind of want to cheer for Brody. I want to see him on camera a lot and see like what he's been cooking, because despite the slow play thing and stuff, I still think he's a great player. And
Absolutely.
him being in the lab
Absolutely.
for months will be really interesting to see what he's decided to bring.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet he has played exactly no less games of Flesh and Blood during his hiatus.
Dude,
Well, I'm taking whatever Brody's picking then.
I hope he
him
brings
on-
some
him on
saucy
whatever.
Fang deck. Saucy Fang deck, please.
Hopefully he's a Dory player now. He's not.
No way.
I'm blanking on his name. There's a Kano player. There's a Kano player in the UK. Sam something. I want to say it's Sam. He won a calling on Icelander. He's my shot on Kano.
Okay. Any other calls?
Well, I'm taking whatever Brody's on. He can win the whole thing. Oh, what about Charles Dunn? You know he's there. That boy's icy.
Okay.
Fatigue's in. Oof.
Nah.
Could have.
I think we
He
know
won
he's
a calling
in
on an
there.
aggro deck. He won a calling on an aggro deck. Like Donnie
I
just
know he
plays
doesn't
good decks.
just play Fatigue, but I'm just
Yeah.
nobody saw Reaping Blade Briar coming. At least
No, that is true.
Well, some people did. If you've heard like some of the podcasts and horror stories about the random battle harden that had a fatigue briar in the
Yeah.
top 8 and everyone was freaking out.
The one here in Atlanta that
Yeah.
happened like the week before.
And
now.
everyone's like,
Yep,
"Oh
I
god,
remember
our
that.
deck got leaked by someone else who figured it out." Like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know.
I've got a league game to play, so we need to wrap this up. If you guys are ready, I'm going to switch over to the other thing before we wrap up. Okay. So,
All right. So, do we have anything else we want to shout out? Anything else that we want to talk about real quick in the last few minutes?
good luck to all the card guys who are going to Pro Tour. Good luck to Damien.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good luck to Andrew Cook.
Good luck to. Yep, Cook.
good luck, Cook. Good luck, all the card guys. Absolutely.
Yep. Good luck to
a
everyone
good
else
time,
that
no
we're
matter what.
forgetting. Yeah, have a great time.
Enjoy the city. That there's more there than just cards. Obviously, play well, and then I'll give you those final words.
You'll
down
have
the
some
road.
bangers and mash. Try to avoid the jelly deals.
Get some
Yeah.
good fish and chips.
Good luck to everybody. Have fun, everybody, but especially our friends in particular. The best of luck
Right.
to you guys.
Just-
Don't suck and win
just
games.
You, just you
exactly.
guys.
All right. Noah, where can everybody find you, buddy?
Right here in my room. No, at Big Max Fab on Twitter and at Big Max on Blue Sky. Big Max on Discord.
Okay. Justin?
Jevzo5 on Blue Sky Discord. J_EVS5 on Twitter.
Thomas?
I went the System Fab on Twitter, with the system everywhere else.
I am Draco Hominus 87 everywhere social media is sold. You can look me up on Card Gamer as Donnie K, where I write several different articles, and my editor hit me with a article pitch for the next one, which is going to be interesting, but I'm not going to talk about it just yet. I will probably touch on it a little bit next week, though, once I bounce it around in my head a little bit more. But the next one that's coming out is going to be that the top 5 worst heroes to let house sit for you. And I, honest to goodness, think it's the funniest freaking thing I've ever written. So definitely go check that out. It's gonna be a good one. You guys are going to like it. I promise. Just look for the link when I post it. All right. If there's nothing else, we're ready to go.
Yep.
All right.
Always.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week. And if you did, subscribe or follow, depending on where you found us, to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, we are all siblings in cardboard.
All right, now check this out. I really just had a simple read your cards that explains the cards and don't forget your triggers, but then it dawned on me that we're back in Europe.
There it is. Yeah, you're back in UK. The OG column.
So please, if we can,
And Brody's legal again.
we got ours. Okay, I know we're 1 for 1. There's no need to go 2 to 1. Okay, read the cards. Let's be fair. Good triggers. Play well, have a good time, guys. But read your cards and do your triggers. Take care.